Hello, people of the internet. It's me, NWC Flips, and I'm making this video even though this is a very, very sad day for me. You guys probably don't know, but my cat died today, and I just wanted to get this out for you guys. But tomorrow I'm not going to make any videos because I am going to just take a break and deal with it. But I just wanted to bring you guys this video today. Enjoy the video. This might be a little bit of a long one, so just please enjoy the video. And if you like the video so much that you want to like or subscribe, also in loving memory of my cat, his name is Splat. And if you want to put in the comment section #rest in peace, I would love that, because it just would help me and it would make me feel a lot better. And thank you for all the support you've given me. Enjoy. This is the story of a man who becomes a hero, who has to deal with rejection, pain, and the loss of his family. I'm telling the story of Skull, a hero that you may not see in comic books. He does not exist in comic books, video games, or any things that we have in real life. He exists in my imagination. And I finally want to make him real, so people will know about him. To begin, our origin story begins in Gotham City. A day, like a normal Gothamites have. Inside, don't go outside at night. On this type of night, his parents broke that rule one time. A little kid, who we will not name since this will be a first-person narrative, is playing with his action figures. He's about 8 years old at the time. His mother walks over to him. She tells him to go outside the door and play in the front yard, not to go too far, but just make sure you stay safe. He said okay, willing that he never has seen Gotham at night. The moment he walked outside, it was pitch black, except for the light in the sky that had a bat symbol on it. He'd always looked up and wait for that light to shine in the sky. He always adored that light. He always wanted to wait for it. But this time, he saw it in person. Not out the window, but looking at it. But all of a sudden, his admiring was way too soon. A loud crackle of someone's voice and a jetpack roared through the block, as a man with a jetpack, flamethrower, and grenades were in front of the house. He immediately hid behind the fence, scared out of his mind. Then he saw that the man threw something at his house. He was wondering what it was, but before he could even take a step, the house burst in flames. Everything was burning to the ground. The flames flew, and the flames flied. The man in the jetpack soon sped off into thin air. All of a sudden, he heard police sirens, heard people coming out of their doors, seeing the fire, calling 911. 2 minutes later, the GCPD arrived. Looking at the fire, astonished at how quickly the fire burned down, all of a sudden a dark figure leaped down from the building above. It was the man that the signal had always called for. He couldn't really make out the figure. He was tall, lean, had sharp ears. He walked over to the police commissioner and started having a conversation with him, and then turned to the boy. The boy, who is our main character, tried to run towards the house to save his family, but the dark figure held him back. He told him it was too late, that his family was already dead, that there was no point in going in unless you wanted to get yourself killed. The dark figure led him to the patrol car and sat him in there. But they let him get out and look for his parents' bodies. The fire was temporarily gone right now, as they didn't know if Firefly would strike again, just to make sure his targets weren't still alive. The boy walked towards his parents' bodies, skeletons at least. Nothing, no skin, no flesh, no muscle, stripped in the flames. They were holding hands, knowing that they would die. He wondered why his mom had sent him out, but he didn't think about that at the time. He just thought he was very lucky not to have been caught in the fire. Then, one of the skull's heads popped off, and it rolled to his hands. He couldn't tell which one it was, but it was looking at him, calling to him, a sign, a symbol. He didn't know what to make of it. But everyone disappeared. The GCPD, the figure, everyone disappeared. He was just there to mourn for his parents. All of a sudden, a van pulled up. A lady, a plump lady, not tall, but she was short, but had a voice like she knew how to be in command. She told him to get into the truck, that they would be taking him to a top-secret military base, and that's where he'd spend the rest of his days. He got in as told. He didn't know really what he could do at this moment, as there was nobody else to talk to. He just sat in the van. Men were armored. He couldn't even see their faces through the visors they wore. They had guns, machine rifles, anything you could talk about. He was scared. He didn't belong. When they arrived at the government facility, he realized that it was on the outside of Gotham, on a special island. Not Arkham Island. That's where all the lunatics went. His mother told him they would never drive down that dirt road, that only special people are allowed to drive down that road. When he asked what special people, his mother drove on. I guess there was something that happened there she didn't want to talk about. But the story continues. The boy has a bag put over his head and is knocked unconscious. The light blinded him as he woke up in a light room, only to expect the worst. He was in a government projects facility, a top-secret facility. As he realized what was going on, this was nothing that no ordinary person knew about. This was top secret. He was a part of a special project, later to be called Project Assassin. The United States people told him that he would be a part of a government research opportunity, that he would be experimented on. He didn't know what to make of this. He just went with the okay. He had nothing else to really do anyway. There was nobody who could even take care of him. He realized that as long as he had a roof over his head and food to eat, he'd be fine. He spent 2 years in combat training, learning how to kill the United States' worst enemies. And then, the bag was put over his head again. But instead of waking up in a white room, with nothing but white things in it, he woke up in a laboratory, hooked to a chair, unable to get out. Scientists, and with people with hazmat suits on, and many sharp needles, were around him. They said that there would be 100 needles injected into his body, and that they would all give him a special serum. When he asked what it was for, they said, "You'll find out sooner than later." When they injected the needles in him, it was excruciating pain, nothing he'd ever felt before. But then it stopped all of a sudden. He breathed a sigh of relief. He couldn't even know what to think of it anymore, as it was gone as soon as it was there. And the fact is, he didn't even know what that had in it. The moment behind him, the world went in slow motion. As he saw, his reflexes were sharper than ever. As he turned around to see a man with a machete about to hit him, he put his hand up and smacked the machete in half. Everyone was astonished that it actually worked. They said you're the first test subject that was ever able to dodge bullets, have sharp reflexes, and hit knives in half. He didn't even know what to say about this. That was until a machine gun popped up out of the ground and shot firing rounds. He dodged the bullets, even catching one, and when one hit his skin, it with his sharp reflexes, he realized that the bullet had snapped in half once it hit his skin. They kept hitting him until he realized there was that blood started gushing from his shoulder. He held onto his shoulder and ducked behind the chair. It was able to give him coverage until they canceled what they were doing. They said that they needed to do one more sample and then it would be complete. He went back to the white room again, waking up only to see that the men in visors that had took him to this place 2 years ago were getting thrown around the room by the same figure that had held him back from his parents. He smashed one against the wall, broke another's rib, broke one's arm and slammed him into the other, and then kicked down the door, only to see the boy. He took the boy by the hand and rushed him out of the government facility and put him in the Batmobile. They drove, him blindfolded by the figure who was Batman, by the way. They drove and drove until he was unblindfolded to realize he was in Batman's top-secret base, the Batcave. Only a select group and circle of many people get to go inside this Batcave. This fits in the middle of what happened. Now, he realizes that a case with the suit of Robin inside of it was being held promptly in the cave as Batman looked at it and walked towards the Batcomputer. He told him that he'd feel free to look around, but don't touch anything. He did as he was told, seeing that he was trained by the government to be a relentless, disciplined soldier. He walked around, noticing suit chamber after suit chamber, things in it that he'd never seen before, until Batman went behind him.